thinking that I could, even though I love game shows so much, I never thought I could actually get on one. So I ended up graduating from Rice in '95, and then went to. So actually, I was at Rice from 1991 to 1995, and again, didn't think that getting on a game show was possible, and so I kind of put that outside of my mind, but continued to be a fan of game shows and watching game shows. Went to graduate school at Indiana University, but my first job would bring me back to Houston. And then my first year working, I suddenly find out that the Wheelmobile is coming into Houston, and one of their stops within the city of Houston would be at a Superior waterbed store on FM 1960, blocks away from my apartment complex. And then I determined it was destiny that I have to try out for Wheel of Fortune. I went on with a lot of hopes and dreams, although my primary focus was not necessarily to win the game. I think that was secondary to me. My number one focus was spinning the wheel. That was my ultimate passion. As soon as I saw the wheel when I stepped into the George R. Brown Convention Center, I rushed to the wheel to try to grab it and spin it, only to be told by the producer, "Do not touch the wheel. You're not allowed to touch the wheel yet." And also to meet Pat and Vanna as well, which I certainly did. And winning was secondary, but I certainly had this hope, given how much Wheel of Fortune I have watched, I have played, I have hosted for game nights over the years, that surely I'm going to do well at this game. And so I was in a good position to be able to solve the puzzles. I actually knew a lot of the puzzles fairly early on, but I ended up hitting lose a turn in two different rounds, thus sort of ending the dream of possibly winning the game. I got to meet Pat and Vanna. I got to be hugged by Pat twice, actually. Once at the end of the main game when he was consoling me when I hadn't won anything, but then also in the studio audience later when I was watching the next game that was being taped. He actually saw me in the audience, I think, during a commercial or in between other games, and he said, "Eugene," and he ran out to me, and the crowd went wild at the George R. Brown Convention Center, thousands of people, I believe, and we embraced again for a second time. And that was indeed a precious consolation prize for me. I also won various things like an Armatron watch, a carpet cleaning kit, gift certificates from Geritol, from the makers of Geritol. I also won a toaster and a 9-piece camping package as well, all of which I no longer own. Everything has been since used and broken or given away. Pat Sajak, I think ever since I first saw him on TV when I was 8 years old, around that time, really got me excited about wanting to be a game show host and wanting to host things, even though I had a very shy and introverted side to myself. But I saw something in Pat that I found really relatable. That he was able to make connections with contestants and add to drama and to be funny, sort of all at the same time, and just really adding a lot of entertainment value to a show. And actually, I ended up kind of growing out of my sort of inability to be able to perform and host in front of larger crowds, and I found myself actually starting to host game shows and larger events for church as well as for work and even for family events sometimes as well. And so Pat really had that influence on me in making me see that I could be a game show host, and really brought out the best in me. So I really appreciate Pat for that. I also appreciate how Pat taught me, well, on my episode of Wheel of Fortune, that it's okay to fail. And landing on lose a turn isn't the end of the world. And this is something that I can still enjoy and take away the fact that I had this moment and learn from in the future. And so, sure enough, when I would get on to subsequent game shows, I actually won more than $0. And I really do believe it's Pat's encouragement that kind of led me there. But I think what's really most impactful about Pat is how he's been doing the show for 41 years like this. And really, I feel like he's hosting just as well as he did. Oh, I mean, obviously better because he was new when he first started, but I really haven't seen any kind of degradation in his skills and abilities as host. And I think that's remarkable to be able to, I've actually, I would say that I've even seen growth over the years. And so I think it's a remarkable thing to see and an example to follow for sure.